PPVs are the most popular vehicles in the country. Go to any parking lot and majority of the vehicles that you'll see are Fortuners and Monteros. They're big, they're practical, they have fuel-efficient diesel engines, and in a way, they're also status symbols. PPV stands for pickup-based SUVs. They have a ladder frame chassis, and they're based on pickup platforms. For example, the Fortuner is based on the Hilux, the Everest is based on the Ford Ranger, the Montero has the Strada, etc. In this video, I'll be ranking PPVs in different categories. I'll choose the top 3 for each category, and then later on I will choose my overall pick. So, without further ado, cue the intro. Okay, category 1, looks. Okay. Needless to say, this category is subjective, so feel free to disagree with me, but do write in the comments why, and also write which one you think is the best looking. Number 1, Ford Everest. This may come as no surprise to my longtime subscribers, but the Ford Everest is my top pick when it comes to looks. It looks big, it looks muscular, it looks masculine, but it also looks refined and classy. I think it's a well-balanced design, not as experimental as the Montero, not as brutish as the MUX, but also not as bland as the Terra. I think it's a nice middle ground. Number 2 is the Montero Sport. The design of the Montero is a bit more polarizing. Some people really like it, some hate it. It's the least traditional looking PPV in the market. I like how it looks, especially now that it's been facelifted. It looks experimental and futuristic, and other PPVs kind of look like dinosaurs next to it. Not saying that looking like a dinosaur is a bad thing, by the way. Okay, number 3 would be the Toyota Fortuner. I didn't like the design of the Fortuner when it first came out, but it has grown on me. It looks sleek, and when modified, it has plenty of potential to look even better. Okay, best low-end automatic variant. If you were in the market for a budget PPV earlier this year, you had more options. I remember earlier this year, you could get a Montero GLS for around 1.4 million with discounts, and you could get an Everest Ambiente for about 1.5. Now, as the year is about to close, the cheapest automatic variants of most manufacturers are in the 1.7 million peso range. Ford doesn't even offer low-end variants anymore. They have discontinued the Ambiente line. Anyway, as for my top 3, my number 1 pick would be the MUX LS. I think that it should have a place here because it is by far the cheapest automatic diesel PPV that you could buy. It is just slightly more expensive than a Mitsubishi Expander, and a lot less expensive than the Montero GLS and the Fortuner G. The interior does feel a bit bare, but for the price, I can't really complain. And you have more than enough budget left over to make the vehicle look better anyway. Okay, the second spot would go to the Terra EL. On the outside, it doesn't look like a base model. It has chrome accents, it has LED taillights. You lose the LED DRLs of the VL, but you still have projector headlamps. The most noticeable difference between the Terra VE and the higher end models are the 17-inch wheels. The higher end models come with 18s, but overall at 1.6 million, it is a pretty decent variant. Okay, number 3. Okay, I'd give this one to the Montero GLS. It is a bit pricier compared to other mid-range PPVs, but it's the newest model here. and it's also pretty well equipped. It has dual zone climate control, it has cruise control, it has a large 8-inch infotainment screen, and it has a power outlet at the back. It may be the cheapest automatic variant, but it's definitely not stripped down. Best mid-range variant. I think this is the price bracket that people mostly go for. 1.8 to 1.9 million might not be affordable, but it's just a little bit more expensive than the base variants of most manufacturers. And it's a lot more cost effective than the top of the line. The number one spot here goes to the Everest 2.0 4x2 Turbo. On the outside, it looks more premium than its rivals. It sports 20-inch wheels, it has an automatic tailgate, automatic third row, power adjustable leather seats, and it's also pretty quiet. The second spot would go to the Montero GT 4x2. The Montero GT 4x2 has leather seats, it has a power tailgate, it has dual zone climate control, it has a good infotainment system. It's also the newest model here, so you're a bit more future-proof if you go with the Montero. The third spot would go to the Terra VL 4x2. The Terra VL 4x2 has Nissan's intelligent mobility system. It has the 360 camera, which is very helpful when you're trying to park the car in very tight spaces. Best top-of-the-line variant. This is the heavyweight category. This is where manufacturers put all their tech. This is where they really aim to impress. I've sat inside and test-driven most of the SUVs in this segment, and to me, the Everest Titanium 2.0 BiTurbo stands out the most. It is the most high-tech, it has the most active safety features, I think the interior has the best materials, and it has the best noise insulation. Second place would go to the Terra VL 4x4. Next to the Everest, the Terra is one of the most feature-packed SUVs in the segment. It has Nissan's intelligent mobility system, so it has lane departure warning, it has collision warning, it has blind spot monitoring, and it has a 360 camera, and it's also 4x4. Third place should probably go to the new 2020 Montero Sport GT 4x4, but since it hasn't been released in the Philippines yet, I'll give it to the older 2019 Montero Sport GT 4x4, which I believe you can still buy. Best in tech features. Hands down, the Ford Everest 2.0 BiTurbo wins this. It has active parking. Whether you need the feature or not, it is very impressive.
Moves on its own. Is that? So you're still in charge of how fast you go in, and if you're in charge.
It also has adaptive cruise control. It has autonomous braking. It has cross traffic alert. It has lane departure warning. Not only does it have a power tailgate, it also has power folding rear seats. It has active noise cancellation. It is hands down the most high-tech PPV in this segment. Like I said before, the Terra VL 4x4 is the second most feature-packed SUV in the segment. It has Nissan's intelligent mobility system, so you get lane departure warning, collision warning, blind spot monitoring, and you also get a 360 camera, which is actually pretty useful. It's not just a gimmick. Like the previous category, third place would also go to the older 2019 Montero Sport GT 4x4. The only downside really is that it's an older model and it's about to be replaced. but in terms of tech features, it is still very impressive. Best in safety. The Ford Everest has a 5-star safety rating from ANCAP. Also, it has the most active safety features in this segment. It has lane keep assist, it has collision mitigation, it has blind spot warning, it has adaptive cruise control, it has cross traffic alert, and it also has 7 airbags. The Nissan Terra also has a 5-star safety rating from ANCAP. As for active safety features, it has lane departure warning, it has blind spot monitoring, it has collision alert, it has cross traffic alert, and it also has a 360 camera, which is actually a safety feature because it can help prevent low speed accidents when parking. And it has 6 airbags. As for the third spot, I'll leave the slot open for the Montero GT 4x4 when it comes out, because the other PPVs in this segment don't really have a lot of active safety features. Best value for money. Number 1, the Trailblazer Z71. This is Chevrolet's top-of-the-line PPV. It is also 4x4. It has 200 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque, and it sells for less than $2 million. A top-of-the-line SUV that sells for mid-range money deserves top spot here. At second place is the RZ4E MUX LS automatic. It is the cheapest automatic PPV in the market. At $1.3 million, it doesn't have competition. And while it may be bare when it comes to creature comforts, it is still a 7-seater diesel SUV. At third place is the MUX Boondock. The sticker price for the Boondock is officially at $1.8 million, but Isuzu is offering significant discounts for it. You could get it for as low as $1.6 million. At that price, you get big all-terrain tires, you get leather seats, and you get a rear flip-down monitor.
But this is 4x4 all time.
Mechanicals. The Everest 2.0 BiTurbo has the most powerful engine in this class. It has 210 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. It makes going up steep hills pretty easy. It can also accelerate faster than any other PPV in this segment. The suspension of the Everest is soft, but body roll is acceptable. The steering of the Everest is the lightest in its segment. For some, that might be a plus. For some, it might be a minus. For me, it is a plus. I want my SUVs to be as easy as possible to drive. The Chevrolet Trailblazer has the second most powerful engine in this segment. It is much larger though than the Everest's engine. It's a 2.8-liter engine, and it's also not as refined as the engine of the Everest. Okay, while the Montero 4x2 doesn't have the most powerful engine in the segment, I feel like it has the best balance of comfort and road handling. The Terra is comfortable, but it's a bit wallowy in the corners. The Montero is comfortable, but it's also stable in the corners. Most reliable. I think that most of the vehicles here are too new to have reliable data on them regarding reliability. Most vehicles will not break down in 3 years unless it's a factory defect or unless it's been terribly neglected. I don't think it's a good idea to judge a vehicle's reliability just by its badge, because manufacturers have good and bad batches of vehicles. For example, Isuzus are known for their reliability, and that is probably well deserved. But ask any engine rebuilder about the notorious Isuzu 4JX1, and they'll tell you a lot of horror stories about expensive rebuilds. Toyota is also known for their reliability, but there's currently a class action lawsuit in Australia over the 2.8 Hilux because of their diesel particulate filters. A few earlier Ranger 2.2 units had some issues with the oil pump. I say go with a brand that you trust, with a brand that has plenty of dealerships in your area, and the brand that gives you the best warranty. It is unfortunate that the new 2020 Montero Sport GT 4x4 hasn't been released in the Philippines yet, because it should be a strong contender for the overall #1 spot. If money was no issue, I will go with the Ford Everest 2.0 BiTurbo. It is the biggest, the most powerful, the most luxurious, and the most feature-packed SUV in this class.